It looks so soft. You get to pet it.
Hi there and welcome back or welcome to my channel. I am Corey and I am the maker here behind Two Little Knots, where I crochet lots of cuddly friends for kids of all ages, whether that's loveys, blankets, stuffies, or anything of the like. This is my vlog. Welcome to another vlog. I heard you guys. Thank you for commenting on my last week's video already and letting me know you do want to see an inventory update, and I will work on trying to get that recorded for you guys sometime this week or next weekend. I have a lot to show you guys and talk to you guys about today, and then I need to get some work done because it has been a busy past couple of days and I need to have a good productive week this week. So we are going to try to keep that momentum from last week going and carry it into this week. So to start things off, I left you guys off on Friday working on, I think I had started a Pooh Bear order. And I know I had told you guys that I placed an order for yarn from Michaels for more of the Pooh Bears and Tiggers on Thursday, and surprisingly it actually got delivered on Saturday, which is a really amazing fast turnaround, so I'm extremely grateful for that. Because of that, I had one Pooh order that I was able to get taken out on Friday or something. I honestly can't remember. But then I had another Pooh Bear order, and then the next order I'm working on after that is for the entire collection of 100 Acre Cuddle Friends. And I knew, based on what I had in my inventory, that I did not have enough yarn to work on that next Pooh order before I started the 100 Acre Friends. But surprisingly, with the Michaels order showing up early, I was able to just get started on that and kind of keep rolling right along. So I was able to get that Pooh Bear order done. So here he is. So he will get packaged up and sent out tomorrow. I'm so grateful to be getting things done as quickly as I am, just because I'm hoping that I can start to get ahead a little bit more as the week goes on. I did have a really productive Saturday and Sunday. Saturday, my in-laws had come up and I started working on Pooh Bear after they left because I had gotten the yarn right before they got here. And then I finished Pooh Bear and I was able to start on the entire collection. And ultimately, I just decided to start with Rabbit because that's the only one out of the entire collection I haven't made since the initial collection that I worked on in January. So I worked on him and I finished him up yesterday morning. So here's Rabbit, and he has his adorable little tail. I love how cute he turns out. And then after I finished that yesterday, I got started on Piglet, and I was able to get Piglet finished up last night as well. So I finished Rabbit in the morning, and then I started on Piglet, was able to have the majority of his pieces done before it was time to head to a birthday party for my youngest friend, my youngest daughter's friend. And then we did that, and I came home and was able to finish him up last night. And then I went on ahead and got started on the next character, which I decided to start on Tigger because that's another one I just haven't made in the past few days. So I started on that. I was so tired last night though, so I was only able to get his arms and one of his legs almost all the way done. And then this morning when I sat down to work, I realized I didn't even do the stripes on his legs, so I kind of had to frog just the top part and redo that. So I was able to do that, finish his other leg, and then I got his head started before we left and went to the zoo, which I showed you guys a couple of clips from that. It was really fun. We got to see most of the animals that we wanted to see, and we got to see some of them moving around today that normally are not close when they're moving around, or we just don't, normally they're just kind of laying around taking it easy. So that was really fun. The girls had a lot of fun doing that, and now we are home. So that's how the weekend went. That's how today went. Tonight we still have a makeup gymnastics class for the girls, so it's just been it feels like we've been very go since Friday, since we had family come up on Saturday, and everything has just been chaos. But I'm really grateful I've been able to be so productive in the midst of all this. My hope, so I now have 2 out of the 6 characters done for this entire collection order. I know I'm going to slow down tomorrow because my youngest will be home with me, and we have to run to Hobby Lobby to get some more yarn for Piglet, Eeyore, and Rue, because I have several more orders to work on those, and I am running out of yarn yet again. So I probably won't show you guys that yarn haul just because it's going to end up being more of the same, but I know it'll slow me down to have her home. I would ideally like to have this collection be able to go out on Friday though. So I am going to be hustling as much as I can in the evenings, and then on Wednesday while they are both at school and my husband is at work. So we will see how that goes. But before I jet out to the couch to get started working on Tigger some more, I wanted to show you guys. I got actually 2 boxes of yarn delivered on Saturday, and it was really exciting because I had no clue that my Michael's order was going to be here. So it was funny seeing the UPS guy bring up 2 huge boxes. But my friend Stephanie at Eat, Pray, and Crochet, which I will have her tag on the screen, and I will link her profile down below. She is so sweet. I love her so much, and she has a lot of really adorable crochet patterns, so I highly recommend checking her out if you don't already follow her. She had posted that she grabbed some yarn from Lion Brand, and one of the colors caught my eye, so I decided to follow her lead and place an order, and that came in on Saturday, and I was so excited by what the colors looked like in person in comparison to what I was hoping they would look like after seeing them on the screen. So I knew once I opened the box that I had to show you guys, because I know you guys will be just as excited. So the color that caught my eye is this really beautiful lavender lilac color. It's not, I don't feel like the purple is pulling through quite as much on the screen as it does in person, but it is a really beautiful color. I actually sent her a picture. I'm just going to use this bunny as an example. So this is dusty pink or something from Bernat Blanket. So here's a comparison just so you can see how light purple this is. So this is a Cover Story skein or ball or whatever you want to call it of yarn. So there is just about 550 yards here, and this is blanket yarn texture. It is as thick as Bernat. I would say it doesn't have that super duper soft quality that the newer textures of the Bernat blanket has, so that's a little disappointing. But I was telling my husband I have been on the hunt for blanket yarn this color since I started crocheting, and I am just so excited. And I know once you guys all find out about this, you're all gonna go sell it out. So leave a skein or 2 behind for me, okay? But here's this one. The color is called Lilac. So I got one of these because it is 547 yards. So that's a lot. I also, and then not knowing what the color was actually going to turn out as, I didn't want to buy too much. So I also grabbed this beautiful chocolate brown. I don't have the yarn like beside me, and I don't want to dig it out since I need to get to work. But this compares really beautifully to the chocolate brown color from Hobby Lobby. This is a little bit lighter, and I will tell you, this feels maybe a touch softer than the lilac color. This color is called Bark. So this is really pretty. I grabbed this just because I wanted to know what the color looked like. And I know we are always on the search for more brown blanket yarn. So I think this is really beautiful. It's not quite as dark as Taupe from Bernat. And like I said, it is a little bit lighter than the chocolate brown from Hobby Lobby. So if you like that color, you might like this. I also grabbed this color because I was curious of what it turned out, what it would turn out to be. And I told my husband I'm kind of disappointed that I bought this because it's very similar to almond. I would say maybe a cooler hue, so not quite as like of a warm tan, but it's still a very pretty color and just not quite as dark in general. This color is called Driftwood. I probably would use this as a skin color on a doll, but I think this would also really be pretty as bears or bunnies or whatever. I think you could even get away with using it as like the lightest color on like a mallard project or whatever. So it's really pretty. And then the last one I got was this. And again, I got this for the same reason as the other two. I just wanted to know what the color would look like in person versus on a computer screen. This is like a toned down, oh goodness, vintage white, but it's not quite as yellow. Honestly, I would say this is a warmer, like creamier yellow than what whipped cream used to be. If you guys remember, whipped cream used to be this like really pretty white, but it didn't have quite the same pink undertone that it has right now. This is similar to that, but it is a bit more like creamy ivory colored. In fact, the colorway is called Parchment. This would compare really nicely to Coconut, probably from the Bernat Plush line. Maybe just not quite as bright, if that makes sense. I think on the screen here, it looks like it's a lot brighter than it actually is in person. So look over here for the color, not over here. But so those are the 4 that I got. I will tell you, it was not a cheap order to buy all 4 of these. I chalked that up to them being huge skeins. With it being 550 yards, I could get tons and tons of projects out of all 4 of these before I even considered ordering anything else. But at the same time, I told my husband if I had room to store these right now, I probably would order more of the lilac color because I do think it will be really beautiful for the bunny, the twisted hooker bunny that we had been working on in the past couple videos, for dinosaurs, for girls, for flowers, the really beautiful, I cannot think of her name right now, but I'll put a picture here. I just can't think of her name at all right now. My mom brain is kicking in. She makes the beautiful flower patterns, and editing me, I know, is like kicking myself because whatever it is going to be so obvious. But this would be really beautiful for that. And goodness gracious, all sorts of other things that are just not quite coming to mind right now. But I love this color. Like I said, if you guys go and buy it, I'll make sure you leave one for me because I will come back for it eventually. But it was really exciting to see Cover Story come out with these colors that are not like the variegated skeins and stuff that I could actually see myself using, because I have never bought a cover story skein before. So that is the yarn haul that came in over the weekend. Let me know what you guys think, and if you think you are going to go order one of those colors, or if you end up ordering something else, let me know, because I would love to hear what caught your eye or what color you're really excited about that they're offering. But I am going to stop rambling now and go try to get a little bit of work done while I have some time this afternoon. And I will probably chat with you guys again tomorrow morning. Hi friend, just checking in with you this morning. It is Tuesday morning. This whole Monday, everyone being off and us doing stuff is going to make this week seem like it is going by so fast, but it is Tuesday now, and I just wanted to update you really quickly because my little and I are getting ready to run out and do some errands. I was able to finish Tigger last night. I'm so excited I was able to finish him, so that makes 3 out of the 6 done for the whole entire collection order that I'm working on right now. I did get started on Eeyore pretty much right away. I got his arms and legs done before I got tired and was ready to go to bed, and then this morning I got several rows on his body done before the girls got up for breakfast and school and everything. So I feel very confident that I will be able to have these done to ship out by Friday at the absolute latest. The other thing I was going to tell you guys was I went through my orders this morning and I I have everything listed in a notes app to keep track of what needs to go out when and the order between my website on Shopify and Etsy. And so I updated that to add a few new orders, and then I added the ship by dates based on when they purchased their order. And I feel really confident with where I am. I'm starting to I think after this order, I have a couple more, and then I'll be to the point where I had changed my shipping time to 4 to 5 weeks. If you remember, I talked about that in last week's video. So I feel really good about where I am, and that I'm getting to the point where I don't necessarily have to only be working on these 100-acre orders, and I can finally start market prepping. So I was very excited to see that. So that's where we are. We're gonna head out and go get some yarn from Hobby Lobby so I can have what I need to keep working on those orders. I have seen that there's new yarn at Michael's, so if I can get her to go with me to Michael's, we will do that as well. Yeah, we'll just see. We've got a lot of running around to do, and then if I don't check in with you guys before then, I will see you in the car this afternoon to work on Eeyore some more. Hi guys, it is Wednesday morning, and here we are, middle of the week. Everyone is finally back to school and work, and we can get some stuff done. Thankfully, last night was actually a lot more productive than I was expecting. I was able to get a little bit of work done during the day because I let my youngest watch a movie after she came with me to run a ton of errands. We were all over the other side of town yesterday morning, and then we came home and we had lunch, and then she really wanted to watch a movie, so I said sure. Unfortunately, we ended on a rough note after everyone came home from school, but I don't know, I guess I channeled my frustration into productivity because I got a ton done. So I was able to finish up Eeyore. I feel like I always say this about Eeyore, but the one thing that I don't love is how his ears are not like flat down. I think that's because of the blanket yarn rather than the chenille yarn that the pattern uses, but I was able to get him all the way done. So that's 4 of the 6 now for that order. I did start on Rue last night, and I stayed up just a little bit. I wasn't too tired, surprisingly, so I was able to get his arms, his legs, his tail, and then 10 rows of his body done. And I got his legs sewn onto the body. And then this morning I got up and I started working before it was time for the girls to come down for breakfast. And I was able to finish up his body entirely. And then I started working on his head while I was kind of, you know, just waiting for us to be able to leave. And I got, I would say, about half of his head done, maybe not quite. I noted the number of rows I had done so I could tell you guys. Maybe it was like 9 or 10 rows. I can't remember. But I got quite a bit done on that. So I feel really confident that I will be able to finish Rue today while everyone is gone, and then get started on Pooh. And then I'll be able to finish Pooh Bear, not today, but probably tomorrow night. And then this order will, in fact, be able to go out on Friday, which was what I was hoping for on Monday. So fingers crossed, everything's going smoothly, that we can get it done in a timely manner. The order actually doesn't have to ship out until the 28th. So I am a little bit ahead, and I'm going to try to start doing some market planning. I'm not sure if I'm quite ready to do market prep, just because I feel so anxious about getting these orders out on time. And because most of them are for at least 2 items, I feel like if I take one day off, I'm worried that it's going to get me behind. So I'm not going to quite start market prepping yet, but I am going to start doing some planning. So my goal right now, I actually have everything on the floor. Let's see if I can show you. So that's the majority of my leftover inventory from my fall and winter markets last year. And I'm going to go on ahead and get started on filming the video for that, because you guys said you would be interested in seeing the my inventory and kind of what I'm thinking to make for my upcoming markets and that sort of thing. Zoe's coming this way if you can hear her walking. She's like, I don't know where I want to be. I moved her bed because I knew I was going to be up here for a while instead of on the couch. So in case she wanted to come join me. But anyway, so that's what I'm going to do this morning, is going ahead and get started on getting that video filmed. I don't know if that'll be up next week or when. It'll just kind of depend on how I can fit in everything. I also did put a thing up on my Instagram stories, which obviously you guys won't be able to see because by the time this video goes live, that'll be expired. But I did put a question box up for anyone who has questions in terms of markets, inventory, prep, and all that kind of stuff. If you have questions in terms of any of those things and you didn't get a chance to ask them on my Instagram, please feel free to leave them in the comments of this video or the market planning video when that, whenever that goes live, and I will try to get back to you as best as I can, or I'll record another video regarding markets and get back to you then. But I am going to stop rambling because I'm going to be doing a ton of rambling, I already know, in this video. And yeah, I'll check back in with you guys when I sit down to start working on Rue. Hi, good morning. It is Thursday. I wanted to come on and check in with you guys. I do have a little one home from school this morning because she doesn't feel well. So our day is going to be a bit topsy-turvy, just dealing with taking care of her and still making sure we get all of our stuff done. But that's okay. We do mom duties and that's the priority. I did want to let you guys know that I had an insanely productive day yesterday, which is exactly what I needed. When we were finishing up with dinner last night, my husband and I stayed at the table and I was showing him my orders, my list of orders, and talking about, how I need to start market prepping and, just all the stuff that's kind of in my head for business right now. And I was just showing him, I really have no room in my schedule right now just to breathe in terms of starting market prep, which is really frustrating because I had hoped by now that I would be really knee deep in market prep, but it is what it is. This is a good problem to have, so we will roll with it. I did get the video filmed yesterday regarding my inventory, and I'm hoping, because it's not going to have as many transitions and everything that my vlogs have, I'm hoping that I can get all of that footage moved over to my computer today and then get that uploaded by the end of the day today. We'll see though, just with having my my oldest daughter home, I'm not sure how productive today is going to be, but I'm going to try to get a lot done because I need to. Aside from the other thing I wanted to mention in terms of that video, when you guys watch it, whether that's before this vlog or after this vlog, or if you ever watch it, in the video, I'm mainly going to be going over what I sold at one of my spring markets last year and what I have left over from inventory from my markets. At the end of last year, I talked so much, as I always do, that video ended up being an hour just because I was rambling, kind of talking about the inventory that I have, would I make it again, what I want to change or how it sold for me or whatever last year. So I'm going to make a whole separate video for when I actually start going through what I want to make and getting started with market prepping, and also answering questions that you guys left on my Instagram stories yesterday. So there will be a two-parter of getting started with market prep. I just wanted to give you guys a heads up on that because apparently I can talk more than I thought I could, and I don't know how much I'll be able to truncate that video down, but I knew you guys probably didn't want like a 2-hour video of just me talking. So with that being said, the other thing yesterday after I got done recording that, I had some lunch and then I was able to finish working on Rue. So as you guys know, I'm working on the order for the whole 600 acre cuddle friends. So this would be number 5. And I got him finished, literally right before I had to run out the door to go pick up my youngest from preschool. So I was able to get him done. And then when we went to get in line to pick up my oldest from school, I grabbed yarn to make Pooh Bear because that's the last one I have to make for that order. And I ended up only getting one of his legs done in the car. As you saw in the footage from that, the yarn there was a bunch of like fluff basically. It was just like stringy coming from it. But once I got to a certain point, I did not like, I got annoyed with that first of all. And then it felt like my fingers were starting to get like legitimately sticky. So I just stopped because it was pretty much time for the kids to start coming out anyway. We had gotten in line a little bit later than we normally do. So I just chalked it up to at least we got something done and that we would move on. Well, yesterday, last night, I was able to pick up working on him after the girls went to bed. And I don't know what kind of manic productivity like clicked in, but I was actually able to finish the entire Pooh Bear last night. I don't know. I just put some vlogs on. I was catching up with Magda at Rose and Dove and Alyssa at Awestruck Crochet, which I realized I've been saying Alyssa's name incorrectly. I've been calling her Alicia. So Alyssa, if you're watching that, I am deeply, deeply sorry because I know how frustrating that is as someone with names that often get mispronounced and misspelled. I'm sorry. But anyway, so I was just catching up on vlogs and was able to get him done as well. So that makes me feel really good. This order doesn't have to go out until the 26th, which is like next Thursday, I think. But I needed to first of all, I just wanted to get it out by tomorrow of this week, so I wasn't too behind. And then once I looked at my orders yesterday, I realized that I actually kind of had to get it done early so I could move on, because I have 2 orders coming up next that have 2 items in it. So I think the next one is Piglet and Eeyore, and then the order after that is Pooh Bear and Rabbit. And then I have to have both of those out by the 28th, so next Saturday. And then after that, I have an entire collection order that has to be out by the 3rd. So as you can see, it's Thursday and I've been working on this entire collection order all week long. And I don't think the 28th to the 3rd is enough time to create 6 characters. So my thought process was I just kind of need to kick my productivity into high gear. So I'm not scrolling too much. I'm not, fiddling around when I could be working. I need to actually be focused and working. So I'm really, really grateful that I was able to get both of these 2 characters done for this order. And then after I finished Pooh Bear last night, my husband was getting ready to go to bed when I was doing the last couple of things for him. And I told him I'm not coming to bed until I have Pooh finished, because I just wanted to go on ahead and have it done. And then I finished all the steps for him and I realized, I'm not that tired. I had already started Piglet for the next order. I've made his arms because a few days ago when I was working on Eeyore in the car, I ran out of the blue yarn for his head, if you remember from that clip. And that day I had the pink from the inner ear in the car, so I was able to get Piglet's arms done because that was like the only thing I had in the car that I could keep working for the next order. So I got his arms done a few days ago. And last night I figured, well, let's just see how much more I can get done on Piglet so I can get a head start for the next order. And I was like, I'll just go to bed when I start getting tired. Well, I was watching Shannon over at Case and Crochet, and I was started catching up on her vlogs, and I was able to get Piglet's legs done and half of his head done as well. I actually think it was like 2/3 of his head by the time I finished it this morning. I was like, wow, I got more of that done than I thought I did last night. So I'm really impressed with how much I got done. Not every single day is like that. Obviously, I have some days where I feel like I can barely get any work done at all, but that was really great to be able to get as much done as I did, get a head start on the next order. So this morning while my girls were having some breakfast, before they got up and then while they were having some breakfast, I was working and I was able to finish Piglet's head, get it stuffed and closed up. And then I got started on the body and I got about 10 rows done before we realized that before I got up, once my oldest was done having breakfast, I checked her temperature just to double check to see where she was. And we realized that she was going to be staying at home today. So that's what I got done this morning. Today is a gymnastics day for my youngest, and I'm really, really grateful that the gym is typically very empty because there's only the 2 classes that meet together. It's about 10 kids or so total. And our gymnastics gym is huge. So it's very empty when we go to that. So I feel comfortable taking my oldest daughter, and we will do the whole social distancing thing to kind of keep her away from everyone and try to keep us from spreading what she has. So that's the plan for today. Like I said, I'm going to try to get as much done as possible around taking care of her and just getting some chores done around the house. And yeah, I will check in with you guys again the next time I'm working. Hey guys, it is Friday and I just wanted to check in with you today. I hope you do not mind my clip from last night of crocheting. I realized yesterday afternoon I was working on getting all of my footage from my phone to my computer, and I was crocheting at the same time, and I thought I should film this for the vlog, and then I didn't. And then last night I was working and I realized I have not filmed anything other than me talking yesterday. So I thought it would be fun just to record like a little look at, just evening crochet time. It looks exactly the same in the evening as it does during the day because I crochet from my couch. I love my yarn room, and sometimes I do come in here and spend the day crocheting, but it's not very often just because the couch is a little bit more comfortable. But anyway, so I hope you did not mind the clip from last night. I'm sure the footage is not as good because it's dark and everything, but bear with me. So today, well, let me back up a little bit. Yesterday, I did manage to finish Piglet that I was working on. So here he is. I got Piglet done. This is for the next order I have in my queue. I did finish the entire collection order. I was hoping to get that taken to the mailbox yesterday, or to the post office. But with my little one, my oldest daughter being home from school, not feeling well, I really didn't want to be out trying to do too terribly much, and we had to make a stop to pick up some medicine for her anyway, just some cold medicine. She is back at school today. I checked her temperature last night and this morning, and she was back to normal. You can tell she clearly has a cold, but I'm just really happy that her fever has subsided because My kids love going to school, which I adore, and she was really disappointed to miss an event at her school last night. And so I just know she's very happy to be back with her friends today. So anyway, I did not get that order taken. I'm hoping, my plan is to finish Eeyore, which goes with Piglet for my next order, and then probably tomorrow take both of those and drop them off at the post office in the morning. I have a sinking suspicion that we are going to be going grocery shopping this weekend, which is perfectly fine with me. I would rather do it as a family on the weekend than it take away from my work time on Monday. So that'll be easy because we can just do both at the same time. So that's the plan for today. Finish Eeyore so I can make sure those get out this weekend. And then I will be able to move on to the next order, which I told you guys yesterday was Rabbit and Pooh Bear. I did want to show you guys the other night, not last night, but the night before last, while I was sitting down working, I decided to catch up on some of my favorite vlogs that I'm subscribed to. And I think, did I tell you guys that? I can't remember. If I did, bear with me. But one of them I was watching was Alyssa from Awestruck Crochet, and she had showed in her vlogs how she was using a paper planner to help organize her orders and her market prep goals. And honestly, I have been pulling out all of my notebooks. Like I have this one that has nothing in there. I think I've only written on a few sheets in there. I just do like a little bit at a time in my notebooks. And then so when I'm ready to use them again, I rip everything out. But anyway, that's a whole different video, I guess. But I have that one and I have another one. And I was planning on using them to start jotting down like my inventory, getting ideas for what I want to make, and kind of keep track that way, which is also something Alyssa did in her market prep last year, her market videos. I just adore her so much, if you can't tell. Like, I am so happy that I started vlogging because it's opened up. Like, I see so many more people now that I might not have seen otherwise. And I adore all of you guys who vlog. So if you have a channel, comment down below, because I will watch and I will cheer you on, and I will probably be inspired and obsessed with you. So anyway, like I was saying, Alyssa was talking about in her most recent vlogs that she was using the planner, and I thought that's such a good idea. I relate to her right now because I am feeling overwhelmed with orders, and also trying to take care of just figuring out how to start market prepping when I also have all of this other stuff going on. And I told you guys the other day that my husband and I had sat down and talked about, how do I get all of this done and when can I start market prepping? And so when I saw her talking about her planner and just showing it even just a little bit, I decided, okay, I need to try something. And so I think that might be what I want to do. And so I decided, after I dropped my youngest daughter off at preschool this morning, I figured I'll just run to Target. It'll take a little bit of time out of my day, but I'll go run to Target, see if I can find a planner that I like and I can make work. And we'll go from there. We'll just try that method and try to get organized over the next week as we head into March. So while I was there, I picked up this planner. This is not the same one that Alicia has, but I flipped through like every single planner they had at Target to find one that not only where I liked it aesthetically, because as a designer, I am very picky on what I like, what I want the stuff that I buy like this to look like, but also just in how I could organize my orders and thoughts on markets and everything on the inside. So I ended up grabbing this one. This is a day designer, which is actually a planner that I had a million years ago when they were being created and published by someone else. Again, that's also another video, but I liked this one because this is a big, hefty planner, but there's lots of room on the monthly spreads. It also has lines on the monthly spread, so I can stay nice and neat and organized. And then here's what the weekly spreads look like. So there's 2 different sides for each day, and I figured I can just break down like what I need to do for orders and what I would like to do for market prep, however I end up deciding to do that. And it was funny because when I was picking out the planner, I remembered almost 10 years ago, which is, yeah, it was more than 10 years ago, which is just crazy. But when I had my design business, I remember having a planner with this exact same setup with the weekly spreads and using it to just organize my work with clients. And it was just such a crazy, like, you know, nostalgic moment. But anyway, so it was fun. I did pick this up, and then Alyssa had also mentioned that she had picked up some really cute like highlighters to help her keep track of what she was doing, and I just happened to find these on an end cap at Target, so I figured these are really cute. I really like, I don't know if I would use this bright color, but I really like the colors, and they have some cute little sayings on there. The top one, it's hard to read, but it says everyday gratitude, which, by the way, this UB brand, they had a lot of really cute like gratitude planners and things like that at Target. So if you're into that sort of thing, I highly recommend checking it out. So yeah, that has been my morning. I'm really excited to dive into getting organized with the planner and just starting to think about markets and just kind of dreaming big. Honestly, I'm feeling good on that aspect and everything. But for now, before I can start organizing my thoughts and playing with the planner, I definitely need to get to work because I need to finish Eeyore. That is the priority for today. So I am going to go get comfy, get out of my jeans, and try to get some work done before it's lunchtime. And I will have you guys come with and hang out with me while I am crocheting. Hi friends, it is Saturday morning. I have to be honest with you, I completely forgot to like record an outro or whatever for the vlog this week because yesterday afternoon was kind of crazy. There was a lot of stuff that I was like thinking about and working on, so let me like backtrack to yesterday afternoon. I did finish Eeyore, and I actually have him already packaged up in the packages that have to go out this morning or today. So I did get that finished, and then I had every intention of starting Rabbit for the next order that I've been telling you guys about this week in the car while we were waiting to pick up my oldest from school. And then I picked up my daughter from preschool, and then I came home and we were kind of hanging out, and I looked at my Instagram stories and I saw that one of my friends she had posted on her Instagram stories that her Etsy shop had been suspended, and she wasn't really sure why, but she had mentioned that she had gotten policy violations for a couple of her listings, and so she was assuming that was why. And yeah, so the listings that she mentioned, she had gotten violations for. Let me turn you down here so we can be comfortable. The listings that she had mentioned she got policy violations for included intellectual property. And I've had a few people message me since posting some stuff on Instagram stories yesterday with questions. So I'm going to explain this a little bit. Intellectual property is basically just anything that you create with your own mind or with your hands in whatever way. So the designs that we create, that is intellectual property to the original pattern designer. We don't really own the pattern, we don't own the design of these things that we make. The easiest way to think about intellectual property is the characters that you and your children know and love. Those designs belong to the companies who created those things. So K-pop Demon Hunters is really popular right now. Netflix owns that intellectual property. So with the Winnie the Pooh characters, of course, obviously Disney owns that. For my friend Jamie, she actually had not Winnie the Pooh characters, but she had Demogorgons from Stranger Things, the really popular show on Netflix. I think she had told me she had a pattern, a finished plushie, and then another design that was similar to that in her Etsy shop. And she said that she got the policy violations and on those listings. And then while she was trying to figure out how to sort through that and handle it, she got an email that her Etsy shop was suspended. So she is appealing it. I am heartbroken for her, as I know she is just absolutely devastated. I think any of us would be if our Etsy shops were closed. And so that I got on Instagram yesterday afternoon and I saw that, and then it was like right at the time we were going to be getting ready to leave the house to go pick up my oldest daughter. In the same timeline that had happened last weekend, I started getting just some, intuition hits, maybe you can call it, that I didn't think it was a good idea for my 100-acre cuddle collection to be on Etsy anymore. I'm questioning selling them at all, but specifically on Etsy for this exact reason. Partially because I had been reading on threads, I guess it was last week, where people were mentioning that there was a crackdown happening on Etsy, and some people even said on Instagram as well, that people who had accounts that had IP, crochet, whatever, they were having their accounts suspended or whatever, banned. I don't know. Suspended is probably the correct word. So last weekend, I started to get a bit nervous about having those in my Etsy shop, because I really don't, I don't want to lose my Etsy shop, obviously. And over the course of this week, it's become like an even louder voice that it's time to probably pull them down to avoid any kind of risk. And I've been waiting because the listing said it was in over 20 carts. And I told my husband in the middle of the week this week that I didn't want to lose those customers. You know, if people were waiting on a paycheck or whatever to check out, I didn't want to take the listing down and then remove their chance of purchasing them. But also at the same time, every single minute that the listing was up was longer that this was at risk of happening. When I saw Jamie's Instagram story yesterday afternoon, that is the catalyst that I needed to immediately just deactivate the listing. So I did that, and then we went to get in the pickup line, and I posted on my Instagram stories just explaining, and I'll explain here obviously, that I have deactivated the listing on Etsy only as of right now. All of the orders that I have gotten will still ship out, so I'm still working on fulfilling those. As of recording yesterday afternoon, I had 7 open Etsy orders with 1 or more of the characters in there. And since I've packaged up the 2, that I finished this week, it's now down to 5. And then I have 4 more open on my website. So there are still quite a bit of orders to get out. And I'm going to move forward with fulfilling those. I have the yarn, and the people have already paid, so I think it's important to follow through on that commitment. But as of right now, there is no longer an option to purchase the finished characters on Etsy. With that being said, I don't know that I will keep the listing on my website up indefinitely. I know that it's a lot harder for your website to be found when you have stuff like this in it, because you're not on a huge marketplace like Etsy. But I still feel that the risk is there, and I don't think that it's worth having it up all year long. So as of right now, I don't have a firm decision on when I'm going to archive that listing. But that's where we're at. Like I said, I realized last night that I hadn't filmed the outro, and that was because when we got home, I had worked out before I went to pick up my youngest, and when we got home, I immediately jumped in the shower. And then I was on the phone with my husband while he was on his way home from work, just explaining that all this happened and kind of talking through everything. And it is a little bit of a blessing in disguise, I won't lie, to take that listing down, because I did get another order for it yesterday. And granted, the shipping time is so far out, it's basically the end of March. But the problem is, like I've been telling you guys all week and over the past couple of weeks, I believe, I am running out of time to market prep. And even though I do have a decent amount of inventory, I have nowhere near what I would need to do the 3 markets that I'm signed up for in April. So it is a little bit of a blessing, like I said, because the listing is no longer there. So it takes away, some of the people who were seeing it and purchasing, because I had gotten the majority of the orders for it through Etsy. It is disappointing, I'm not going to lie, but I understand the reason that these companies don't want people selling things like that. I completely understand that. And I just don't personally feel like it's worth the risk of potentially losing half of my source of income just to keep this listing available. So that's what happened yesterday afternoon. That's where we are. I'm just gonna, you know, take it on the chin. We're just accepting it and we're moving on. Like I said, I have so many orders that I still have to work up that my husband said, it's over with now. What are you worried about? And I was like, well, it's not over with until I get all of these orders finished up and sent out, and then it'll officially be over with when I take the other listing down. So when that'll be, I don't know, but that's where we are. I just wanted to update you guys. This is already quite a long ramble. But also, if you have made it to this point in the vlog, thank you so much for hanging out with me this week, working and talking about yarn. I realized that I showed you guys these huge skeins of yarn at the beginning of the week, and then I talked about my Target haul yesterday morning. So I appreciate you guys hanging out and watching. If you made it this far, how about we leave a yarn emoji in the comments for the yarn haul that we got last weekend that I showed you guys, and let me know what's going on with you this week. What are you, I'm really curious how many of you who are watching are already starting to market prep for your spring market. So let me know if you are market prepping or what you're working on this weekend. And I am going to sign off so I can keep working and getting stuff done this weekend, and I will see you guys next week.